allowed to do that. But
I'm 28. That's fine.
3 years ago, you graduated from school,
Mhm.
right around when you took your job. What are 2 or 3 things you wish you did then that you now know to do now?
Hmm. Oh man, there's so many things.
Okay, fine. You could go with 3 or 4, but you can't go with 5.
Okay, fine. Um, Gosh, I think I was a little bit nervous to do such a big career change and a big move all at once. Moving to a new city and starting a new job that I had never done before.
Mm.
Um, and I think I wish I knew that it actually was better that way. Doing a role transition like that is really tough. And
Mm.
some people might say it's even tougher doing that when nothing else in your life is changing. And so by moving to a new city, going to a place where nobody knew me, and at the same time doing this role transition in my career, it
Mm.
felt like I was kind of reinventing myself
Mm.
all over, like friend groups, where I lived, etc., everything. Had to get new furniture, like,
Yeah.
so really everything had to be new. And so it kind of, I don't know, it felt very good to do it kind of all at once. And I had thought that was going to make it scarier, but it actually made it a little bit more. So
Ah,
I
okay. So it's kind
definitely
of
should.
like the opposite of it being overwhelming than it was. It was
Hmm.
probably easier because everything's changing. You have to just kind of ride it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Um, yeah, I think that, and then definitely like take a notebook to work and write down all the things that you come across. You're like, ooh, don't remember that one from school, and so you can spend time on it later. There were so many times that I look back and I'm like, what did that kid have? Like, I never looked that up or whatever,
Mhm.
and I really wish I had my little book going with like, oh, I read about that once. Um, you know, and then there's some other like anxiety management techniques that I wish that I knew.
Ooh.
Um, so, particularly in my line of work in acute care, in the critical care setting, you do procedures and things like that. And in a primary care office, you do some of that too, maybe putting in some stitches or something like that. And as a new provider, that's probably one of the most nerve-wracking things. Um,
Mm.
because as a nurse you really don't do stuff like that with a needle close to somebody's body, so
Right.
besides just giving them a shot. But
Uh-huh.
when you're doing stitches, you're kind of in your own head thinking like, if I don't do this right, then they're going to get a really bad scar.
Mhm.
And that kind of anxiety and everything like that. And I think about that at work all the time too. Like, if I don't get this line in right now, then it's going to be more difficult to get it on the next time. Or thing that I think of is my coworkers are going to be let down by me.
Mm.
So, um, so the way that I've, managed my anxiety for a while before I got good at some of these things, is to take a little notebook and kind of have all the steps that you do up until you're actually putting the needle in the skin with the first stitch. You know, all of the things that you do before then. So all the things that you have to get, like your gloves, the suture, some gauze, whatever. All the things that you need and all the steps that you're going to do in the order that you're going to, all the way up
Mhm.
until that moment.
Okay.
So that basically you can autopilot that whole thing all the way up until the part that makes you nervous. So you're not like thinking the whole time and working yourself up the whole time, because you're like, oh, I know how to do all this all the way up until the one part that I'm going to get nervous about.
Awesome. That is incredible. So, and forgive me, when